You're tuning in to the Raised by Rentals program. This podcast will contain strong language and spoilers for decades-old media properties.
Join us.
Welcome, everybody. This is the podcast where we examine pop culture franchises of the VHS era and improv new stories where we use our imaginations like a Ouija board to conjure arcane messages from the outer darkness at the low, low cost of merely our eternal souls. But hey, who's counting? Because we'd like to imagine how we might improve our favorite movies, TV, and games. I'm Josh.
I'm Mike.
And I'm the other Mike. And this is 60 Minutes.
Hey, Mike, I thought it was Raised by Rentals. Are we on the wrong show?
Yes,
We
sorry.
might be on the wrong show. Sorry.
I've always wanted to say that. It's a bucket list item, so I can just check that off.
There you go. Check it out. Mike's, what is
Hey.
your favorite thing to have for breakfast?
Oh,
Cereal.
man. Great question.
Cereal, I think.
Yeah, I mean, everybody knows my history with cereal. But if you take cereal off the table, I like a nice, buttery, crispy Flapjack with
Yeah.
strawberries.
Ooh,
And
that is
there is a breakfast chain that's in kind of the mid-Atlantic Northeast called Perkins. Do you guys remember Perkins?
Oh, yeah.
And it's in
Oh,
Canada.
yeah.
They have buttermilk pancakes with strawberries, and then they used to anyways, apricot syrup. It's like an orangey type of syrup.
Oh.
So it's like
Oh, yeah.
a little bit of pancake and lots of sugar. It's very, very good.
Yes, I miss Perkins. I used to go to that a lot when I was a kid when we lived in Massachusetts. It was like my favorite place to go. And to this day, actually, I only have one type of jam in my refrigerator, and it's apricot. That's my favorite kind, and it always will be because of Perkins.
And they're still around. You kind of just have to look for them.
That was my my first teenage hangout place before Denny's, because we used to go to Perkins all the time, and because they
Yeah.
had the carafe of coffee, they would just put it on your
Mhm.
Me
table.
too. Me too.
That was the whole reason why we hung out there. Was like, if there's a smoking section, and we get a whole pot of coffee to ourselves.
Heck yeah.
Fun fact,
Yep.
I had my first kiss at Perkins.
Nice.
He had big, strong hands. He smelled like cigarettes and whiskey, and he'd hang out behind a dumpster.
Nice.
I miss you, Dave. Hope you're okay.
Yeah, so you see, and like you stole my joke too, because I was gonna say, well, it wasn't actually a joke. I was gonna say my first kiss. She's a lesbian, so
Yeah, actually, I think mine might be too. I'll accept it. I'll take
Hey,
credit
man.
for that.
it was
You're
the
welcome,
'90s.
gay
There was a lot of.
community. I'll turn anybody gay. Just kiss me.
I know, right? Do you need some more? Is the quota low? We could get on it. Oh man, no, it was the '90s. There was a lot of like peer pressure. It was, in this case, it was like my best friend and his girlfriend and like her best friend, and they were like, "Oh, you guys should come with us and we'll double date." And then they literally just like locked us in my friend's bedroom and like wouldn't let us out. And they were blasting Meatloaf through the wall, like "I'll do anything for love." Like waiting for us to kiss and wouldn't let us come out of the bedroom until we did.
Man, that's kind of traumatic. I'm sorry.
That's pretty crazy.
Oh man, it was a fun time. But yes, we are here once again to talk about breakfast, and more specifically Flapjacks, because Mike, I'm so glad you came back. Michael May from the Count Kreepyhead Saturday Morning Monster Mash
I'm-
podcast.
Super flattered every time you guys ask me to come on, so thank you.
Yeah,
Indeed.
absolutely. And we definitely need to have you come on and just do, a different idea or something that, you are excited about bringing to the table in terms of a story idea, just like we did recently with Josh Hibbard, your fellow co-host on Count Creepyhead, where we had to bring him back specifically to let him pick a topic and do the Muppet Chainsaw Massacre. But next time, we'll let you bring the idea to the table. But this time, Mike and I
Right.
could not get the idea out of our head that we have to return to Flapjack, Arkansas for Flapjack Massacre 2.
Can I ask you guys two questions
Yes.
before we head right to the races? One, was Flapjack Massacre Part 1 popular enough to warrant a sequel?
I don't care.
Okay.
Yes.
And two, am I the only one that writes down creative ideas so I don't forget them?
Oh,
No,
no,
I was gonna say we definitely both do that.
I you just get bored and you like make up a story in your head. You don't tell anybody about it. You're like, man born with laser gun on hand, and he fights dinosaurs. Or I'm just making this up. And then you just keep building on it for like a week out of boredom, and then you've fleshed out like a 10-book series in your head. And it's like, I just write it down. I'm never gonna tell anybody the story. I just like have bullet points in a Word file.
So Josh and I tend to fire those back and forth at one another at like random intervals. It'll be like 3 a.m. I'll be at work and just fire off like a random idea to Josh, and then vice versa. Or he'll get one where I'm ridiculously stoned and I'm like, I got the best idea ever. It's so fucking good. And then I won't remember what the fuck it is. So that also happens.
It's a good thing we can go back and search through the old text messages.
Yeah.
For those who want to know, this is just a one-off joke from Pee-wee's Big Adventure, where he talks with a pancake, or no, 2 eggs and a piece of bacon, and he says, "Good morning, Mr. Breakfast." "Good morning, Pee-wee." And I just thought it would be hilarious if a guy had a pancake on his face. He was killing people.
Yeah, and like the absolute maniacs we are, we were just like, yeah, that sounds like something we should talk about for 2 hours.
Hey.
Absolutely. We'll dedicate a whole episode to it and create our own original character and then come back and do the sequel in the next season. We are here for it. But yeah, I have piles and piles of notebooks and like folders full of like random sheets of paper where I like scribble down ideas on, tons and tons of files on my computer and on my backup drive, like just full of stuff. Like story ideas, like whole outlines, partially written short stories and scripts, poems, like song lyrics for both bands that exist and songs that will only ever exist in my head because I can't write music. I have so many ideas. I can't help but write them down. I send them to Mike all the time. Like I said, and now they often turn into episodes. That's actually why we started doing our original episodes. Because originally on the show it was always just taking pop culture franchises and riffing on them in some way to improv a sequel or a reboot or whatever. But we started doing original ideas because we were always talking about these ideas that like we could maybe shoehorn into maybe like a Halloween sequel or something. But we're like, screw it, man. Let's just like do our own idea instead.
Yeah, cool. And those are some of my favorite episodes, to be honest. Like, don't get me wrong, I friggin' love stuff like Space Vietnam. Like that's always a lot of fun to do. But the Vengabus, the dumpster fire, the hot garbage, all that, like I've had the most fun doing those.
Like, yeah. Can I get a yep?
Yep, 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 yep.
Oh man, and I love coming up with original slasher characters. We actually talk about that a lot. Every time we come up with a new one, we're like, cool, we can just like add that to the pantheon of slashers that we've created. Like Jurgen the Yuletide Avenger, and and the Vengabus or Mr. Six, I guess, is in that, and the Trash Man, who is also a dumpster.
I think you guys are this close to a hardbound compendium and or trading cards. You have enough characters for like 90s style with like power stats on the back.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like, the dumpster has no speed, but it has high levels of energy projection.
And like low level teleportation because it's just right behind you.
Yeah, exactly.
Storage space very high.
Oh man, that'd be
it's
hilarious.
like the bag of holding. It can just store everything.
Oh man, and Mike is more religious than I am, so I always come up with these like really blasphemous, like crazy ideas, and like nobody cares, or people just look at me like I'm absolutely fucking bonkers when I say something. So, but I know I can send it to Mike, and he'll at least appreciate how like creative and wild it is, but then also get really uncomfortable because I'm like going into some like taboo areas with these like ridiculous ideas.
So I've gone on record with Mike that like I thought I was being funny, but I was actually being very offensive to Mike. I won't give any specific examples because then I'll be offensive again. But Josh, I thought you were just as religious as Mike. You guys have similar backgrounds.
No.
Yeah. Not anymore. We do have similar backgrounds, but yeah, not to tell the whole story now. But I went to the one extreme of that spectrum, and I've swung all the way back to the other extreme. Okay. And so no, I'm not religious at all. But Mike.
This is like a conversation for off the air, and like I found that the kind of religious jokes that work with Mike are party animal Jesus jokes.
Yes.
So like I want you to picture Jesus shows up at your house and does like the I'm gonna pull my thumb off my hand magic trick where he just has his thumb between his finger and he's like, whoa. That's cool and funny.
Cue a sick guitar riff. Wow, wow. Party Animal Jesus.
Party Animal Jesus shows up anytime
he just jumps up and plays air guitar.
Yeah.
And I always think of these like really, really like sick ideas where I put Jesus into like a horror movie scenario and play like one of the characters, and then I send to Mike and I'm like, okay, so if they recast this movie with Jesus in this role, like this is how it would play out, and then he's just like sticking his fingers in his ears, like la 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 la, I can't hear you.
Well, if you ever have a Passion episode, actually no, I wouldn't even be qualified because I know so little. you need somebody who has like religious background, and I have none. Let's, what we're doing what we always do, and we're just going off into the weeds, and we shouldn't.
Hey, that's okay. It happens. That's what we do. But yeah, like I said, Alvarez and I'll use last names because you're both named Mike, but Alvarez and I. We really wanted to go back and dip into the well a little bit in this season. It's the 4th season of the show, and we have already gone back and done some sequels to some of the other episodes. But, this season specifically, I should say we have some plans to revisit some ideas, some things that we want to go back and revisit, do some additional sequels, like maybe another Vengabus and maybe another Hot Garbage. And, some of the things that we have done have been additional sequels like Escape from Earth and Harry and the Hendersons 2. And, I think this is kind of the season of like continuing some of these trends because like you mentioned before, like when you get creative and you come up with this idea and you keep thinking about it and pretty soon you have this like 10-book series planned out in your head. And that's the thing that Alvarez and I do is we'll come up with this idea and then we're like, oh, then you can go there and then you can go there. Like if you go back and listen to our Jason or Freddie and Jason Bros Before Bitches episode, which was the first slasher camp, by the end of that episode, we had planned out like a 3 or 4 movie series.
Yeah.
And it's really hard like not to do that. And sometimes it's fun to just spitball and then like let it go. But then sometimes like you can't let the ideas go. Like they just won't go away. So yeah, we had to come back and do additional installments in some of the series that we started. We have some more that are coming up. I already mentioned that we want to return to the Yule Parish universe for bringing back Jurgen the Utah Avenger. That's a spoiler. But again, I already brought it up in another episode. So yeah, we had to come back to Flapjack, Arkansas and do a follow-up to the Flapjack Massacre because it was, I think one of the best episodes that we did last season. And we kept trying to think of other things, but it was like, I don't know, man, like there's so much to it. Like there's so many cool ideas left in the well of a breakfast themed slasher character.
Completely agreed.
Yeah, so here we are. So we're back, and what I want to do, or I should say what we want to do after we chatted a little bit offline before we started is, first of all, listeners, if you haven't listened to the Flapjack Massacre episode, the first one, you absolutely should go back and check that out. It is episode 66. Yeah, episode 66. So from season 3, came out a little over a year ago. Now this is episode 95. We're on that road to the 100th episode. But anyway, in that episode, we established a slasher character that was, and originally called Mr. Breakfast, riffing off of the joke from Pee-wee's Big Adventure. But for some reason, Mike and I couldn't remember what the name was exactly. We just kept saying Pancake Face to ourselves even before we got on to record the episode. And I was just so tickled by the name Pancake Face and how stupid it is that I was like, you know what? That's the name. We're going with Pancake Face.
Nobody says Friday the 13th part 11. They say Jason 11.
Exactly.
So you know what?
That's his name.
Pancake Face is fine.
Yeah. And so, but in that movie, it was a period piece, which we had to remind ourselves by going back and listening to it again, where it was like they made it in the 90s about an event that took place in the 70s, where there is a small town in Arkansas, Flapjack, Arkansas, that hosts an annual breakfast-themed event called Flapjack Fest. That was their attempt to put a positive spin on the fact that years prior, there had been a series of breakfast-themed murders at Flapjack Franny's, like the local diner. And they were kind of trying to bury the legend of Pancake Face, but the fact that the movie existed meant that, of course, Pancake Face was back, and we had another series of slasher murders and a bit of a mystery as to who Pancake Face is or was. Yeah, so I guess we'll spoil the end of the episode. I guess we kind of have to, right? So by the end of the episode, it was revealed that nobody knew who the original Pancake Face was. Earlier on, we had told a bunch of stories, like the sort of flashback stories of like people who thought they knew the true tale of what had really happened in the original murders, and there was all these. The stories were different depending on like who told the story, and the sort of telephone game of one tale getting told to another person before it gets all blown out of proportion. And so no one knew who the original Pancake Face was. We still didn't find out, but at the end of the episode, the local EMT who had been trying to help and befriend our main characters, Clark, he is revealed to have been Pancake Face during that year's massacre and was killing people because there was some kind of like undefined like curse or tradition or something. It was almost like he was under a spell where he had to prove to people that breakfast is the most important meal of the day.
I love that hook.
Hey, man. Pancake Face isn't a person. He's a way of life.
What is this, a costume?
Exactly. But further spoiling the end, when Clark Pancake Face, who literally wears a pancake on his face with like eyes and a mouth cut out of it, like the dumbest slasher mask, but he's defeated at the end of the movie by the final girl, and we see this little like kind of stinger where it appears as if the curse or the guise of Pancake Face had been passed to one of the other characters, a guy named Angus, who had previously we thought he was dead earlier on in the story, and he kind of comes back to help the final girl save the day, and then becomes the recipient of the curse. And the last thing we hear is that whispered line of breakfast is the most important meal of the day, and then kind of cut to black, and we left it there. And it's so silly, but there's so much there to that. I mean, I went through it pretty quickly, but I felt like, man, like, well, what happened to Angus? Like, where like does this curse thing come from? Like, why is it a pancake? Why does he care about breakfast? Why was the mayor of the town, played by Corey Feldman, or who literally, I guess, was Corey Feldman, like, why did he care so much about his town that he, like, let the murders happen? Or maybe they wanted the murders to happen. Like, there was a lot of things that we could answer if we came back and did another story.
Sure.
Absolutely. Or hear me out, we could just do something completely different.
Yeah.
And now for something completely different. Exactly.
Yeah, maybe this will just be called Pancake Face 2 and not feature any Pancake Face at all. And it's it's a movie about a failed hockey player who has to team up with a ballerina, and they have to become professional figure skaters. And then they fall in love. Edge. Oh shit. It's not my idea. Damn.
I love that movie. But you guys are both totally right in terms of sometimes it's fun to just do a follow-up in a series that doesn't really have much to do with the first one. Or if it does, it's kind of only like sort of related, or it takes the basic idea, but just does something completely different with it. So, sometimes you get these direct sequels that literally pick up right where the first movie like left off. I think Friday the 13th's part 2, 3, and 4 are kind of all like that. Like they just pick up right from where the previous movie stopped. But then sometimes you get these like completely ridiculous sequels that are just out of nowhere. I mean, there's the extreme example of like Halloween 3 Season of the Witch that is vaguely related to the Michael Myers story, maybe, but really it's just like its own thing. And then, Mike or Alvarez, give me some examples of like what are some other movie series where there are sequels that are they're part of the series, but they don't really have any connection to the original.
Oh God. Shit. Now I'm drawing a blank.
No, I put you on the spot. I know, me too, because I'm like, shit. I was like, I know there's examples.
I mean, most of the sequels that I can think of are the ones that just kind of do that bullshit where it's like, oh, forget these other movies happened. Like Halloween's done it multiple times, like Halloween H2O. Oh yeah, forget part 6, 5, and 4, and 2 or part 3 happened. Forget all those, and it's just 1, 2, and 7 now. And then after Resurrection, they were like, well, we Busta Rhymes it all over the place, so let's just restart it.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of franchises where it's like, we know you just want the main character doing whatever they do. Who cares about the story? Like every Godzilla sequel, practically,
Yeah.
It's like, don't even think hard. You can't remember the plot. You just remember Godzilla fought this other monster.
Exactly.
Yeah.
A lot of the like Puppet Master sequels, there is no continuity.
They tried for a short period of time, and then it was like after part 5, they were just like, fuck it.
Yeah, like at Charlie Band's like, here's $20,000 that needs to have puppets killing people and at least one nipple. And go!
And at least one nipple. The fucked up thing is you're not wrong about that part.
Yeah. Or maybe even just examples of sequels where the tone is very different. And outside of horror, I'm thinking of like Rocky and like Rambo, like Stallone famously, like you make these really like strong, heavy dramas, the first Rocky, the first Rambo, or First Blood. And then the difference between First Blood and Rocky 4 is like night and day. Like those are two entirely different styles of movies.
Oh yeah. He totally went to like popcorn muncher flicks with it. They're still fun flicks, but they're 100% popcorn munchers and not these heavy dramas that the first Rocky and the first Rambo were.
Come on.
Yeah.
Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2 is...
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say Texas
Chainsaw
Massacre
horror.
2.
Yeah, and Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, it's the same creator, so I allow it, but it's just a dramatic tonal shift.
Well, it's because he always said that the first one was supposed to be a comedy, but no one found it funny. So he's like, well, fuck it, I'm gonna make this one a comedy.
But yeah, anyways, you guys want to start telling some stories?
Yeah, let's get into it. So the reason we went through all of that was basically just to say, hey, look, the rules are off the table. Who cares? We're going to tell a story where we continue the tale of the Flapjack Massacre and Pancake Face, and like let's just figure it out. Like, what sounds good? Do we want to do something in the 70s like the first one? Do we want to like maybe jump to the modern era? Do we want to still have it be in Flapjack, Arkansas? Do we want to take him out of small town Arkansas? I don't know. Personally, I don't care. So like, what do you guys think?
I vote modern times just because it's easier for storytelling.
Yeah, I think we bring it to modern times, but I think we don't ignore how the first one ended. I think we do one of those credit wraps where we explain the past in the opening montage. Like we could even do a cold opening of like, we could literally have black screen and just breakfast is the most important meal of the day. And then like zoom in and we see like Angus coming after Teddy. Maybe he kills Teddy right there. Like he just, final girl, fuck you, you're dead. And then the cops come in and shoot him and like, fuck you, you're dead. And then we see like, the montage, the opening credits, like, Corey Feldman returning as Mayor Feldman, so like, whatever, however we want to do it. Right. We see the opening credits, but we see, go ahead.
I have a suggestion.
Okay.
Can you guys just trust me with the Corey Feldman thing? We'll get to it in 5 minutes.
Okay.
But just trust me. What if you have the opening that pays homage to the early Friday the 13th, where you have a pancake and then the title zooms in behind it Superman style and then blows it up?
Yes. Well, we could 100% do that. But what I'm getting at is like we could show the passage of time in the credits. So like let's get from the 70s to modern times. So we see the cold opening, Angus, he's the killer. He kills Teddy. Cops kill him. We see newspaper or newsreel montage, like a montage footage of like, murders taking place in, Flapjack, Arkansas. And then like, show like it's 1988 and like, mysterious murders happened at the annual sausage fest in Flapjack, Arkansas. Like we show all of that. And as we show like maybe newspaper headings of like, town falls on hard times, mass exodus of Flapjack, Arkansas. Like we just see like more and more of like the town becoming more dilapidated. Exactly what Feldman was trying to avoid in the first movie. Like he was trying to make this town this super like special place and not have people focus on the murder. And that's exactly what people are focusing on because the murders keep happening. So we do that, and then we can do exactly what you said. Like we could have maybe like it end, like the montage end in present day and be like, and show like how fucked up, the town is now. And then we go back to the whole breakfast is the most important meal of the day whisper and show like black screen, show the pancake, as you said, and then have the title crash into it and like flapjack and syrup go everywhere.
Do you guys have a main character in mind, the avatar for the audience?
Not yet.
No, not yet. I don't really, have any idea what our story might be. We threw some ideas around, before we started, so we'd have somewhere to go.
I will push the shopping cart towards the cliff. Okay, figure of speech, and then you guys take it from there, and I'll just kind of chime in sporadically with jokes.
Okay.
So we kind of joked about an angle where there's going to be a breakfast company who's coming to this town.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to start with the new employee who is moving to this town, but they haven't found housing yet? So they move into a local hotel. Okay. So we can have a shot of them driving into town, but instead of Flapjack, Arkansas, what's another, get your thesaurus out. What's another name for flapjacks?
I don't know, pancakes, griddle cakes,
hot cakes,
hot cake, Arkansas. Okay, the name has been changed, but obviously, how they change Crystal Lake's name all the time because of all the murders?
It's Forest Green.
All right, so the town's not that smart. And do you want to they pull into the local psycho-style roadside motel to get a room because they're starting the next day at their job?
Okay.
Yeah. I want them to walk into the office, and guess who's working there? Corey Feldman. Okay.
In old man makeup.
No, this is inexplicably Corey Feldman now. So we can have the character pull in, get a room key. Corey Feldman doesn't shtick it up. They go into their room. They can call their mom on their phone. Hey, I pulled into Hot Cake, Arkansas. I start tomorrow. And then we can have a bonfire out in the parking lot with all the local Mattel residents. And everybody's kind of telling tales. And then he can go, or she can go, to the fire, and we can get the flashback sequence to get the audience caught up. And this is where you can have Corey Feldman say, oh, man, I was just a kid back then. My dad had to deal with it.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Okay, so he looks exactly like Corey Feldman because he's the son of Corey Feldman.
Okay. All right. I got some things clicking. Some things are coming together. All right.
Corey Feldman is now in the old man, like Crazy Ralph. He's been here a long time. He's seen all the shenanigans. And we can get the campfire scene of maybe they're important characters we can come back to and have them get killed. Maybe they're just random locals. But, you can have a burning barrel that they're standing around. You could have a cameo from a dumpster that's on fire. Doesn't matter. But I think this character should be happy-go-lucky and very outgoing and gee willikers, I'd like to meet the locals.
Okay. All right.
So do you want to name this character? Is it a guy? Is it a girl? Non-binary. You guys are great with the names.
Okay, hang on.
What's a go-getter name? Every time I hear it, I think this person's a go-getter. Mitch.
Yeah,
that's such an '80s used car salesman name.
It is. Mitch. Okay, I'm writing that down. Mitch.
All right, Mitch.
All
okay.
Right. Before we get too far ahead of ourselves, we want to establish, we want to get from the credits to there.
Yes.
So,
let me throw something in here, Mike. Sorry,
go for it.
Yeah, let me throw something in here because I think I see exactly where you guys are both coming from. I think this can all work together, right? So we have a little bit of a long intro, but it's all going to make sense. So yeah, we do the exact same thing you said, Alvarez, where we start with the whispered quote. We start with the scene from the end of the first story that then extends into, oh no, Angus is now Pancake Face. He kills Teddy, the final girl, and kind of like the start of Friday the 13th Part 2. When Alice makes it through the first one just to get killed in the second one, or Alien 3. Yep. So yeah, so he takes down Teddy, and then maybe the cops shoot him down or whatever it is. To your point, we do the whole thing where we fast forward through time, classic filmmaking technique. We show clips from the newsreels and the newspapers and all that stuff. At some point, one of the newspapers can be Flapjack, Arkansas, officially changed his name January 1st to Hot Cake, Arkansas, or whatever. Real original guys, or something else. Something more bougie, they change it to Blintz or something, Lotkey, Arkansas, or whatever.
Lotkey,
Crepe.
Yeah. But whatever it is. Yeah.
Crepe,
Whatever.
Arkansas.
Yeah, crepe is kind of funny. We should just go with crepe. Now it's Crepe, Arkansas. And
yes, Crepe, Arkansas.
And you do all this, and you do all of this, and then it's like, you see like, the pages of the calendar are falling off, or whatever to speed up time. Yeah, and then you open up on this guy, he's pulling into town. Mitch, he's got his it's modern day. His car's all full of all of his stuff. It's clear that he's moving. He pulls into town, but it's modern day, but we do all of the classic horror movie things when we introduce a new character into like a new town. He gets out to maybe he can't find the little room that he rented, and there's like some old guy who's like, you're doomed, who's like smoking a cigarette outside like the rundown bodega or whatever. And then he goes in and asks if this is the building where the room is or whatever, and then the guy's like, oh, whatever. Like, you introduce these sort of like town weirdos, and sure, you have what's his name? Yeah, you have Corey Feldman there, who's like, oh yeah, that room's out back. I can show you. And and then he kind of starts telling him the story, like, oh, have you ever been to Flapjack? I mean, Crepe. Have you ever been to Crepe, Arkansas? And Mitch is getting a little bit like skeeved out, because this place, he wasn't expecting it to be like such a ghetto, to be honest, for like a small town in Arkansas.
A funny visual gag of it's a breakfast themed motel, so each room has a different breakfast theme.
Yeah.
Like the clown motel where all so his room is oatmeal, or like
oh god,
what would just be like visually ridiculous, like bacon, or like English muffins.
I almost feel like if this guy's going to be like a main character, and it potentially is gonna like come up against Pancake Face at some point, it would be funny if he was the waffle guy. Like, we can just drop all these hints that he's the waffle guy, like, not intentionally, but he like lives in the waffle room, maybe he walks in and he's like, oh sweet, I love waffles, like they're my favorite breakfast food.
So, why don't you have the Corey Feldman hotel caretaker say, like, okay, we have the oatmeal room, the bacon room, the waffle room, or the pancake room. What do you want? And you'd be like, waffles.
Ooh, waffles.
Yeah.
I love waffles.
And then maybe Mitch can say something like, hey, like, didn't you guys used to have like a breakfast festival or something around here, like way back in the day? He's like, yeah, my dad was so big on that, but like, and he started the hotel, and he like made us make all the rooms themed like, eggs and bacon, and when they changed the name of the town, they tried to get us to change it, but he like stuck his heels in, and he just wouldn't give up on it, and he passed away, and I just felt like it would be disrespectful to like change it now, so let me show you to the waffle room, whatever. And at some point, we go out and we have Mitch, maybe he goes to the diner, or he goes to some place where there's locals who are congregating, because he's like, trying to, be a local now. And he starts hearing people, maybe he hears the end of a story. Like, he hears, he walks in and he hears the end of like, and that's how it, go ahead.
Oh. I'll say you went exactly where I was gonna go.
Yeah, it's like he hears the end of a story, like, oh yeah, that's how I went down for Angus, but like that wasn't all for Pancake Face, and then he's like, Pancake Face, again, and you get somebody who's maybe there's like a group of like totally wide-eyed wrapped like 10-year-olds, and there's some like old guy at the diner who's like telling him about the fucking bloody murders in the 70s.
This would be a great time to talk about all the other sequels.
Right.
So you can have somebody like, man, remember when Pancake Face went to space camp?
So hold on, before we get too far in the weeds, let's back up. We got the opening, like we said, the opening montage. They kind of establish that the killings have been happening forever. They changed the town name. People have left the area, so now we can show Mitch driving into town. And I want it to very much look like the opening of Barbarian. Like, where she's driving down that fucking street, and it's just like houses are just dilapidated and abandoned and boarded up. And it's just like one thing. And he's like, maybe he's like driving in, he's like looking down at his phone, like watching the GPS, like, where the hell am I going? And then we end up at the little breakfast motel that is completely surrounded by dilapidated buildings. Like, it's the one building still in operation on the outskirts of town. And this would make sense to the first one, because as we know, Mayor Feldman was always bussing people in, always trying to bring people in. So of course he's going to have like a breakfast themed motel right when you enter town, because that was his whole shtick. So, it's the one place that's still opening. We go, we meet, the new Feldman. We do the whole waffle room, like you guys said, and have him just be like, again, it's completely deserted, like complete ghost town there. And I'm be like, so is there anywhere I can get a bite to eat? And it's like, oh yeah, Flapjack Franny's, it's still running. And just, we got to do the call back to Flapjack Franny's and kind of like give him the directions there. Once he gets there. This would be
if you get the campfire, but it's in the restaurant.
Yes,
everybody's hanging around talking. Okay, gotcha.
Because I'm trying to imagine like someone coming to work at a new town, and it's like they got a bunch of steno bums in the parking lot of the motel he's staying at. It's
it's like it's a dilapidated town, but it's not new Detroit.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, it's a little like, I don't know, if I were the new guy driving into town with that, I might be like, I may need to reconsider my options.
Am I in Niagara Falls?
Exactly.
Sorry.
Hey, even we don't have people burning barrels down there. So he goes to Flapjack Franny's, and to your point, as he's walking in, he could hear, someone talking about, a murder or some kind of thing, like, what the hell did I just hear? And then have him sit down, get some waffles. Like maybe he orders the waffles. We can keep playing that joke up. And then have him just kind of eavesdropping on this group of, we could have like a group of teenagers or whatever, whoever, just people talking about the different murders. And then it could, to your point, it could be completely salacious and ridiculous, because it's like, it's a bunch of kids telling the stories. They clearly weren't alive for half of this. It's like a game of telephone, before you know it, it's Purple Monkey Dishwasher.
We need to establish one thing and then come back to these kids talking about the story. What's the name of the company he's coming to town to work for?
Well, that's one of the things I was going to try to figure out. Because I was, the whole time you guys were talking, I was like, all right, there's Nabisco, there's Kellogg's, I'm trying to think of like made up versions of those names.
Let's do a take on General Mills. That's like, I don't know, like Corporal Mills or something.
Yeah.
Sergeant Mills.
Colonel Mills, whatever.
Colonel Mills, there we go.
Colonel Mills breakfast foods, but let's have the people in there be employees of the company, so you can come back to them and have them get killed. So it's like very efficient with the characters.
Mm-hmm.
So do you want to have like an easy kill count, like 4 people? So you can just have like, I'm thinking of My Bloody Valentine, like they're off their shift.
Okay.
There's nowhere else to go, so they're just hanging out, getting breakfast, and just sharing tales of Pancake Face because nothing else happens in Kreepyhead, Arkansas. So you can have cannon fodder and just set them up so he meets them right there, and they can come back to like they work there. Maybe they have like one-piece factory outfits on with Colonel Mills.
Yeah, that works. It just, we kind of like insert these like setting pieces where, there's like some guys who are, they're clearly working for this company. So we're establishing that, okay, there is this company in town, even though the town is really run down and dilapidated. There's clearly at least one business in town that's employing people, which, Colonel Mills, and we see them. But there's like, the old guy in the diner who remembers like all the old times, and he's like telling these stories. But it would be funny if we did like a repeat of the scene in the first episode,
that's kind of what I was getting at.
Yeah, where you have the characters sitting around in the diner and they're kind of like telling the stories. Well, who was Pancake Face? And the stories are all kind of different. So it would be funny if, since we're in like modern day and all this time has passed, like it could even be that like this isn't Flapjack Massacre like part 2. This is like it's like the 10th movie in like a series that like doesn't really exist. It's like and then we can kind of do these like flashbacks or tell these stories where like, well, what happened in all the other movies that we never actually saw.
Well, and that's kind of what I was getting at that I thought would be funny is like the different stories instead of the teenagers. Let's scrap that. Let's make it be the factory workers, and they're all new. They came to town. Like these people have moved there, and then have like the 1 or 2 old timers that are there and be like, I heard it was blah, and have them be like, you don't know shit. It actually was, and then they can tell the story. But again, in that opening montage, we could explain it away immediately in the opening montage where like one of the newspaper articles be like, Colonel Mills comes to Kreepyhead, Arkansas, thousands of jobs or thousands of prospective jobs, as people return to small town, that type of a thing. And then we show Mitch, like we smash cut to Mitch on his way to the new job. So
do you think
we get
Mitch,
all that explanation out of the way.
Mitch's job can be social media director?
I think
like he's gonna have to do a lot of cleanup to kind of keep Colonel Mills looking great as Pancake Face gets going.
I was actually picturing something totally different. I think I'm now realizing that I was thinking of this in a completely different way than you were. Because I was thinking, what if Mitch becomes Pancake Face?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And you want Mitch to see like the ghost of Pancake Face?
Like so the movie would be from the point of view of a reluctant Pancake Face, but he still wants to make the company look good.
Okay. Right. Okay.
Yes. Well, yeah. Okay. Because I have a great idea.
Yeah. Well, so let's stop right here and talk, because I feel like we're kind of already like butting heads a little bit in terms of like, where are we going with this? It's
like
clear
your idea is better.
It's clear that we want to have Pancake Face murders. We got to have this guy Mitch come to town. He's, we had mentioned that he's kind of like the POV for the audience. So in my head, I think it would be a difficult juggling act, not impossible, but a difficult juggling act to have the POV character that the audience is following around also be the slasher, unless there was some sort of a transformation that happened during the movie, right? We have to see him become Pancake Face if he's going to be Pancake Face. So I think we kind of need to figure this out right now before we go any further, or we're going to keep fighting each other. Because what I'm thinking, based on this whole idea, okay, there's like this breakfast themed company that's come to town. What I'm thinking, it would be really funny if, what if they make, like a pancake themed cereal or something? The point is that they have this like uncomfortable connection to pancakes in a town that has a bad history with pancakes, where, sure, they might need to do some PR spin. Hell, they might even need to have like a new cool mascot, but like, are the murders happening? Like, does Mitch come to town and start killing people, or does Mitch come to town and, oh shit, like there's murders here? Like, where the fuck have I moved to?
I was gonna say I totally have an idea, but go ahead.
What if Mitch works for the company? We can have a CEO character, the old man of RoboCop or whatever, and he says, Mitch, look, we need a mascot to pitch these products to kids. He starts digging around and he finds this Pancake Face, and he doesn't know the connection. He's going through like old boxes in the factory that they've moved into, and he finds the pancake that Pancake Face wore on his face. Okay.
Well, to be fair,
we did pretty moldy pancake.
Yeah, I was gonna say, not only that, but he's gonna hear the stories of Pancake Face away. So
yeah, a moldy pancake, you could have the like passage of time and damage of, like Jason Part 7 or like the later Halloweens, where it's just like gross looking now.
Well, go ahead, Mike.
Just hear me out, guys. Just hear me out for a second. So here's what I was thinking. We talked multiple times about sequels that are not like the original. We brought that, like, we literally laid the groundwork at the start of this episode all about that. So my initial thought was, yes, do something completely different from the original. The original was a whodunit. We never saw who was doing the killing. It was always like shrouded in a POV shot. So when we could finally do the reveal of Clark, it could be Clark wearing the Pancake Face and have his giant afro behind it. So like, because we couldn't show that, otherwise it was like, it's fucking Clark. So what if we go in the opposite direction? We do the thing that so many people have a hard time with, but I fucking love when people do it, where it's from the villain's point of view, but it's a reluctant villain. Mitch really likes waffles. He hates pancakes. Pancake Face is possessing a man who likes waffles. So he's forcing him to do these horrible things. So it could be very much like that whole thing where like Mitch blacks out, kills somebody, wakes up and is like, oh, no, this is going to look really bad for the company. And he's trying to clean it all up. And like, the ghost of Pancake Face is laughing at him from the mirror, that type of thing. And the whole thing is it's a man versus self story. So it's of the different tropes. So Pancake Face is not only our villain, but our main character. The audience knows it, but none of the other players know it. So Mitch knows, the audience knows, no one else knows.
Okay.
You could also have some jokes of characters like Pancake Face is back. And Mitch be like, well, actually, maybe it's waffles. Waffles are better.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to add an idea to this. This from when we were chatting ahead of time. Before we started recording, we chatted like, oh, here's some fun ideas we can kind of toss around. So I'm going to grab one of those and take credit for it. So no, this is perfect, Mike. Alvarez, I love that concept. Like I said, it would be a difficult juggling act, but not impossible. And I think that you figured out how to do it in a way that makes sense because we just have Mitch black out, and again, try not to keep it a secret from the audience. That's the thing that would be tough to do. But if we're letting the audience see it the whole time, they're going to be like, fucking Mitch, man, pull your head out of your ass, like, which is good. Like, that's a great thing because you have the audience who's like, people who are watching the movie know the secret and they're like yelling at the screen, so I think that's perfect. So the way that we tie this is we have this company. So Colonel Mills makes a cereal that's like a pancake themed cereal. I don't know, pancake crunch or something. Yeah, something like that. Short stacks. That's good. Pancake O's.
I like that.
Whatever.
Pancake O's.
And so they make this, and they have successfully been marketing it to kids forever because kids always like, sugary cereals. But there's a market for cereals that is going to be underserved, which is that people as they get older tend to like, want to eat healthier. They take care of themselves. You have parents who like don't want to serve like sugary cereal to their kids. So you have a company that's like, how do we make pancake themed cereal cool, for the kids, for the teens, and so their whole approach, what makes this interesting, and it doesn't have to be really realistic, it just has to be interesting, which is that the Colonel Mills, they're like, we want to market our cereal to like, young, edgy, like, goth audience or whatever. And they literally are like, we're going to have Pancake Face be the mascot for Pancake O's, a guy who was a literal fucking killer in the 70s, but they're going to have like a cartoon version of him on the box, with a big happy smiley pancake and like that like offset spatula that he used to kill people with, but it's like a cartoon character with a big cheesy smile. And of course he says his tagline like in a word balloon on the box, breakfast is the most important meal of the day.
Yeah.
Oh my God, dude.
So their whole life, it would be like putting Jason Voorhees as a cartoon character on a cereal box. You tell me you wouldn't rush to the fucking store to buy Voorhees O's, right? You would.
I can picture that 80s cereal right now, like C-3POs or Mr. T cereal.
Yes, that's what it is.
Garbage cereal with hockey mask marshmallows.
This would be the equivalent of like if nowadays, if we actually put like the John Wayne Gacy clown on a box of cereal. Like that's the equivalent in this universe.
But you know that your ass is driving to Wegmans to buy Gacy O's tomorrow if that shit came out.
This is the most insensitive thing in the world, but Gacy-O's would have to be crushed Oreo cookie crumbs to look like soil. And all the marshmallows would have to be teenage boys. So you can eat out of the crawl space.
Oh God, no.
Oh God. Oh my God.
Oh God. No, I would do like the Dahmer O's, and it's all like bones and penises.
It doesn't come in a cereal box. It comes in a jar.
Yeah.
No, it comes in a refrigerator.
Yeah.
Bones with marshmallow penis.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, the box looks like a refrigerator, and it has like a little perforated thing where you like open the flap in the front, like you're opening the refrigerator.
Wow, I can't wait to eat this.
Yes. So they're so they want to market their cereal to like older people who think this type of thing is like, ironically funny. So they have Pancake O's with Pancake Face as the mascot. I mean, who's he going to sue, right? He was a mysterious serial killer from decades ago. And so they set up shop in the original Flapjack, Arkansas, where it all happened, like to really drive the story home. And then they send Mitch in and they're like, yeah, he's going to be like the PR guy, like get everybody in town on board. And then we're going to, or maybe they're like, let's hire somebody local or hire someone to be Pancake Face, like the mascot Pancake Face in like the big silly mascot outfit, like the plushy mascot outfit. And they're going to like film some commercials. And so you have this framing sequence where throughout the whole movie where it's like Mitch who's like taking the silly mascot Pancake Face to like film commercials and stuff, but every time it happens something goes wrong and people get killed, and so Mitch is like, oh no, Pancake Face is back, and the audience is yelling at the screen saying, you're Pancake Face, motherfucker.
Yes.
Okay, you need to establish a name for the like morally corrupt CEO of the company.
I kind of like the Colonel of Colonel Mills.
So why don't we just, for your own mental, for you guys to picture this, Colonel Cochran. So from Halloween 3 and RoboCop.
Yes.
And Enemy Mine, he was the guy under the turtle makeup. Just picture that great actor as this Colonel Mills, and he wants Mitch to market a cereal to us, essentially. Not that we don't, we never stopped eating cereal, but he's like, we got to tap the millennial market. We got to make it edgy. Like everything that Josh said. It's perfect.
Mm-hmm. So,
and we could just have him spiral into madness because he's taken the job too seriously. We don't know if it's real or not. He's seeing Pancake Face, and you could have a sausage festival in town to kind of promote their new foods. He can kill people there. You can have just a nice 45-minute filler of carnage, breakfast themed carnage, hands in toasters, sausage links and eyes. You could do like a Dark Tower spoon in the neck sideways. That's if you got to the very end of the Dark Tower, you understand what I'm talking about. Just thoughts.
Okay.
I'm a big picture guy. You guys are better with the details.
Okay. So we got Mitch to the town. We know he's going to be working for Colonel Mills. And he's at Flapjack Franny's. He's of course ordering the waffles, and maybe there could even be like an audible gasp when he orders the waffles. Like the waitress will be like, "Oh, you're one of them."
We don't eat waffles around here.
Yeah.
We don't serve you waffle eaters in this part of town.
Yeah, it would be really funny if when he gets his waffles, it's literally just pancake mix in a waffle shape.
Yeah. Look, guys, not to be weird, I kind of make pancakes that way, or waffles that way sometimes, and so he never notices. Or how about he picks up a menu and it's nothing but pancakes?
Don't you have waffles?
And he says to the waitress, "Don't you guys have waffles?" And it just everybody stops talking.
They all just look at him. He's like, "Kidding. Yeah. Short stack's fine."
Yeah, maybe the waitress is like, they may have changed the name, to Crepe, but this is still Flapjack, Arkansas, my son.
Listen, motherfucker.
You're gonna eat a pancake and you're gonna like it. So here we do the whole thing. Let's slow it down and actually get some of these kills on the table. So while he's waiting for his food, he could be going over notes. We could see like close-ups of the notes. See he's going to be the new mascot wrangler / social media employee for Colonel Mills. While he's looking over that, we could hear people talking in the background and kind of pan over to the group of workers, talking about, I still can't believe that they're gonna, they're having this cereal play up on the Pancake Face murders. Like, that's kind of crazy. Like, oh, they pay good, this having like the back and forth. So yeah, we let the audience know, yes, we understand this is ridiculous. This wouldn't actually happen, but come with us on this crazy ride.
I think it would happen.
I mean, we're getting there. I feel like we're getting to that society. But yeah, so again, we can. This is where we can go through. So we can. What are some creative kills you guys want to include in the movie? Because we could do this flashback sequence here, and then this is where we can be like, oh, that's not how it happened at all, and then do another one, and that's not how it happened.
I got one kill. Waitress won't serve him pancakes or won't serve him waffles, right?
Mm-hmm.
We can come back to her at some point and have her have some sort of waffle-themed kill. Like hot waffle iron to the face, anything. Just to kind of be like, subconsciously, Mitch didn't like that.
Right.
And came back at her.
Okay, yeah, we'll definitely, but I mean like the overhearing part where they're like,
where they're talking about things that happened?
The previous murders, yeah.
I think it'd be funny if you're doing this, you have it show up in different film stocks and like shot on video to kind of like give you an idea of the time. So you can have like the Super 8. I think Space Camp would be funny, of Pancake Face floating in space. This would be a good time to have the battle damaged Pancake like deep into the sequels, where there's like an axe wound that's still there, or Stitches holding the pancake together. No reason, no explanation. It's just there. Like, you guys missed great stuff we're not going to ever tell you about. Never going to see it.
I think we shouldn't even address it. We should just show the kill, like in this one particular kill that they're talking about, like Pancake Face for whatever has, the pancake is stitched together, or like it's held together with Band-Aids or something.
Yeah, it's this whole idea that there were like all these like sequels in this Flapjack Massacre movie series, and every sequel is different. There's a different like film stock. There's like different masks. Like the actors are like widely different in like size, and maybe there's like a female Pancake Face. Hell, maybe there's like a little kid Pancake Face in one. Like it's like all these sequences kind of in order. Like part 2 it was like the return of Pancake Face, and we show some of the deaths, and then part 3 was like now it's like woman Pancake Face, and then like part 4 was like no, it was just the imposter with the waffle mask on or whatever. Like we kind of go. It would be funny. You
can play on all kinds of tropes. You could have a lady in a canoe and Pancake Face jumps out of the water.
Right.
Gets her for kid Pancake Face.
Yeah. I'm just picturing Gage with a pancake on his face going breakfast.
But yeah, in terms of like murders and stuff, I guess like to be honest, like we spent so much time like trying to get through like the opening sequence of the movie. I agree. Like we just do breakfast themed murders. We do some murder where he smashes like a giant like cast iron pan into somebody's face, but like it cartoonishly like flattens out. We do one. We do one where, again, it was like one of the sequels where we show that they attempted to rebrand the town in the 90s, and instead of having the Flapjack Fest, they had the Sausage Fest, because we mentioned that already. So they had a Sausage Fest one year, also like breakfast and whatever bratwurst themed shit, and then we have a scene where there's somebody screaming while their intestines are being pulled into like a meat grinder, and you see Pancake Face who's like making sausages out of this guy's like bloody intestines.
Yes,
love it.
And then you have like a black coffee scald kind of a murder, like whatever. Like I'm literally just looking at a list of breakfast foods,
man.
And
watch
you
History of
you
Violence.
do a whole theme of them.
David Cronenberg has an awesome breakfast kill in History of Violence with Aragorn. I can't remember his name. There's a fight sequence where he smashes a hot coffee carafe into a guy's face.
Yep. It's awesome.
And it's so cool.
Mortensen.
Yeah, just have him like
mention that on the first one too.
pour like a nuclear hot cup of coffee down somebody's throat, and then their stomach melts out.
And we could just have like, as we hear the different narrators tell, like, no, that's not how it happened at all. Like the kills could be getting faster and faster. So we could be going through like obviously different periods of time, show like the different clothing styles. Like one scene the victim's wearing a members only jacket. The next scene they got fucking Jankos on. Like just scene by scene we see the passage of time. But it could just like I'm picturing Johnny the Homicidal Maniac here, because there was several of these types of like random kills in that comic book where they would just be talking about shit, and then you would just see someone like screaming, "There's rats in my anus," like just shit like that. It would be like we just see someone like getting the cast iron pan to the face, like you said, Josh, the scalding hot coffee, like and then just like cut to a person with their hands embedded in a toaster oven, just screaming, just like, and then just like cut to the next thing.
If you guys want to see all of these, get the Raised by Reynolds trading cards that are going to have their whole universe of characters and all their famous kills. It's going to be like Fright Flicks. Give Mike like 4 or 5 years to draw all these.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. We gotta have one kill where some guy just randomly like he's like looking straight up, and then you see cinnamon bun icing just get like piped into his eyeballs while he just starts screaming, like just ridiculous, just like oh my god, just dumb. So we do all of that. We set up everything beautifully. Like we see the actual like flashback. We see the passage of time. Mitch comes to town. We set up the fact that like things are different now, but people are still holding on to the legacy of the breakfast themed past. We tell all the stories of the locals who, their stories are contradictory and like different styles, and then we kind of get this joke about all these movies that didn't really exist, and we kind of jump through it, and then Mitch, of course, is going to be horrified, like, oh my god, like I can't believe I moved here, but he's going to try to go about his day job. So I'm going to kind of like move fast, like stop me if something like cool needs to happen. But like, we're going to see him like he's going to. We haven't really killed anybody in the modern day, but we don't have to, because we saw a bunch of murders in the flashback sequence, and Angus literally killed the final girl from the previous movie at the very beginning. So like I think we're good on deaths for like right this second. Like we got to kind of get through the story a little bit. So yeah, Mitch,
and overdoing it in a slasher movie is a mistake.
Yeah, I mean, people want to see the deaths, but at some point you got to like stop and make them wait for it. You know, yeah, make them wait for it. But yeah, so he goes about his day job. He's gonna go to like Colonel Mills. We're gonna get the whole story where the Colonel is going to explain like what they're doing there. Like this is what's going on. And of course, Mitch knows, but he's like, is this really the right idea? Like it's kind of like sick. And he's like, oh, you don't know my boy. We're gonna get that youth audience, whatever. Like this guy, it's funny. Like he's the Colonel, like he's Colonel Mills, like his last name is just Mills, and he called the company Colonel Mills.
Yeah. Maybe he wears like a white suit. He's really playing up the Southern boss hog kind of character.
Yeah, but it would be really funny if he had like a really thick Boston accent, just to like just to make it weird. Like he's dressed like a Southern colonel, but he's clearly from like he's from Southie. But anyway, just to be funny.
South Arkansas.
Yeah. So we have him explain the whole thing to the audience.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, exactly. And like Mitch is really uncomfortable with the whole thing, but he gets introduced, or he hires like a local to be the mascot, and they go to like film a commercial. Like he's a social media guy, so they don't need like a big movie studio. They're gonna go down to like Flapjack Franny's with like an iPhone and a tripod, and this guy's wearing like the pancake face costume, and of course the locals think it's great, because the locals who hang out there, like they're kind of into it, and they're filming this commercial, and it's all funny, and there's got to be a joke that I can't think of, some kind of a joke of like oh, breakfast so good like you'll murder it or whatever, something like that.
Breakfast so good,
scary good.
yeah, breakfast to die for.
Yes, there you go. Like,
so you can have the first like legit kill from Mitch be whoever they hired isn't good enough in his eyes, and he kills him. So you can have like the cartoon pancake mascot, like have it be ridiculous, like he's Steamboat Willie, big white gloves, like hamburger helper, but he's pancake face, and he's like, oh boy, boys and girls, you're gonna love Pancake-Os, munch with like a cartoon. You can have a cereal themed kill, like he's got a giant cartoon spoon, and he's eating this bowl of cereal. Mitch gets an eye twitch, and it's not good enough. He's like, no. Breakfast is the most important meal of the day. You've got to take it seriously. And maybe we can find a way to kill him. And Mike, go take it.
The scene I'm picturing, because we played up the whole, like, we're leaning into the whole murder thing. We're leaning into like we're trying to be edgy with it. Like that's Colonel Mills' whole shtick, is he wants to capture that crowd. So what I'm picturing is like, yes, they're going to film a commercial at Flapjack Franny's, but have it be like, so we're going to cut after having him having Colonel Mills explain to Mitch, this is what I need you to do. You're going to be filming this commercial. We already got the cast and crew. We got the film time, blah, 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 blah. He goes through it. Hard cut from there to like two people crouched down behind the counter at Flapjack Franny's, like at night, like thunder and lightning outside, and they're like breathing heavy, like all scared, and be like, is he out there? And just hear the breakfast is the most important meal of the day. And then the lights turn on and everything gets all happy, and this happy cartoon mascot of Pancake Face comes out with two big old bowls of cereal. He's like, eat up, kids, like that whole thing.
Nice.
And then have them be like, oh wow, breakfast so good, it's scary, that kind of a thing.
Perfect.
And then have it cut, and then we pull back and we see Mitch just like, he's looking at his notes, and he's like, you came in at the wrong time there, Pancake Face, and him like be smoking a cigarette in the costume. So it's just like this cigarette hanging out of this giant plush face. Be like, hey, I'm on break, man. Fuck off. Just like totally a dick to Mitch. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, because let's not forget, like, Pancake Face hated people who disrespected breakfast, right? So if the first person we want to kill in the movie, if this is, the mascot, then, yeah, he's got to disrespect breakfast or the cereal or, whatever. Like, he's got to be disrespectful. Like, he's the kind of character who dies, like in slasher movies where it's like, you got to be taught a lesson, like underage, right. Sex and drugs. In this case, it's, oh, sorry, you were disrespectful. You got to go.
Right. So do we want to have him like maybe flub his line or fuck something up or, so totally. Basically just something where he's screwed it up. Mitch tries to correct it. And, the guy's like, fuck you, I'm on my break, and have him just be like twitch,
Yeah. And that's all you need, right? Yeah.
One
Or
take.
maybe he like puts a cigarette out like in one of the bowls of cereal or something.
Perfect.
You know.
Oh, that's it.
Let him
Yes.
pack the cigarette into the bowl of pancake O's.
And then be
Yeah.
like, reset, and have them like people moving around in the background, but we focus in on the cigarette like put out in the cereal, and then we zoom in slow on Mitch's face, and he's just staring at it. We get like a little eye twitch.
Yeah, totally. And then there's a couple different ways we can jump forward from here, but it could be something as simple, again, because the audience knows that it's going to be Mitch, or like we're going to tell him it's going to be Mitch. It could be as simple as like he has that little eye twitch, and then what if he's like we zoom in on the eyes, he's twitching, and then he starts to blink and like look around, and we zoom out, and now he's like sitting in his hotel room, blinking at the sunlight coming through the blinds, all groggy, like he just woke up, or maybe he didn't sleep, and he's just like he yawns like, oh man, and he goes to like cover his mouth with his yawn, and he's got blood all over his hands, and he looks down like, oh my god, like what happened? Or
Yes.
Yep.
Just to make it very obvious that yes, like Mitch just blacked out and went and killed somebody, and maybe he like, or maybe he does, maybe it's not blood, maybe it's syrup. He's got syrup all over his hands, and he's like, oh my god, like what happened? Me
and Mike talked about this over dinner. Because two Mikes hanging out is cooler than two Joshes hanging out. Maybe it doesn't need an explanation, but like as he becomes Pancake Face, he seeps syrup out of his skin. So
Yes.
as he gets further and further into like it becomes Pancake Face, we could have him hold his hands up and kind of try to spread his fingers out, but they're gooey with syrup.
Oh, I hate that feeling of having
Yes.
sticky
Can you
syrup
hear it like
hands.
Yeah.
and he's like, what the fuck?
So
And he goes to wash it off, like what's happening?
right. Okay, so here's I love this. I
Or
love this.
he just has it on his face because he had something holding. He had to have something hold the pancake on.
Yeah,
well,
exactly.
I mean, we can play with this because if
Both.
we're doing the ghost, that's almost like his ectoplasm. So
Yeah.
let's go with this. So we do the thing where we see the cigarette, we see the cereal, the close up, the twitch, and we hear like, all right, reset, take two, like all that in the background, and just everything kind of gets quiet to like a hum. So we just like close up on Mitch's face, like that, just all the noise gets quieted out except for like a low buzzing. And then we hard cut to what you said, Josh, where he's waking up in his hotel room or his motel room in the waffle suite. And he's like, what the fuck? And then he goes to yawn. We see red, like glistening red material on his hand, like freak out, like thinking it's blood, but then have him be like sniff and be like, is that strawberry syrup? And then he like licks it. And he's like, the hell did I do? Like, so he's going washing his hands and all this. So at this point, it just looks like he had a sugar bender. Like he became breakfast werewolf for a moment,
Yeah.
Ooh, that'd be a good crossover.
The breakfast werewolf.
I like that versus.
So have him exactly. So have him like he starts his day, he goes to Colonel Mills and all that, and they're like going over the footage of the commercial. They're like, oh, we love it. This is perfect, Mitch. This is exactly what we need. This is totally on brand for what we're shooting for. And be like, all right, we have an upcoming, like, I don't know, it's a grocery store. Like our product is going to be released at the local supermarket, whatever it is. Like, so we're going to have, Pancake Face there meeting with the kids and all that. The guy never shows up. So now Mitch is like trying to he's like freaking out. Like, what do I do? Like, he's never shown up. We don't know where the Pancake Face mascot is, so Mitch has to put on the mascot costume.
Yep.
And he's got, while he's doing the mascot thing, like, so we could do the POV shots here. So he's like, dancing for the cameras, dancing for the kids, trying to save his fucking job because this asshole mascot never showed up, who's probably dead in a dumpster. So he's dancing around.
Good cameo.
Right, exactly. Which, we could absolutely come back and do that. But like while he's dancing around, what I'm picturing is like the POV shot of him like in the big foam Pancake Face mask, like looking around. There's like kids all around, Pancake Face, and all grabbing at him, and just hear like that Darth Vader breath inside the mask, like he's just breathing to himself, and then have inside the mask we hear the breakfast is the most important meal of the day thing, and I'm like, what the fuck what is going on? Just have like this whispering voice talking to him.
Oh,
so we can
nice.
lay the groundwork here that Pancake Face has something to do with Mitch now.
let's add to that even more. He's got kids around him for this commercial, right? So he's bringing out a bowl of pancake oats. You might have a throwaway joke where somebody's like, wait, I got it. He gives the pancake oats to the cereals, and let's have to the kids. Have one of the kids say, like, wait a minute, these are just Cheerios. And have him lose it. Okay? And just straight up, like, kick the kid in the chest like this is Sparta. Not kill him, but just like he loses it because he's taking it too seriously and he's hearing things. Have a kid be a shithead.
Right.
And have Mitch just punt kick him.
So here's what we should do, because like this will be like a the product being released at the grocery store, so they're doing like a meet and greet type thing, so all these people are meeting him and all that, and like he's hearing the voices, so he's getting more and more panicked as there's kids all around him, and have him just like kind of like look over at maybe the other representatives from the company, like, I gotta take 5 guys, I gotta go to the bathroom, and have him like walk off by himself and like take the mask off, like, what the hell's going on? And this is where we have the kid walk up and be like, hey, Mr. Pancake Face, these are just Cheerios, and just have Mitch's eye twitch and just be like, fuck you, and just boot the kid, and then be like, oh my god, and then like run out of the store like panicked.
They are pancakes with holes in them,
you little shit. Just boots the child in the chest, and we hear the kid do that, like the as he goes flying back.
You want to throw a Wilhelm scream in there?
Oh my god.
Yeah.
So yes, we'll have like Mitch run out of the store and be like, what the fuck? What the hell did I just do? So we could do, I don't know if you guys have an idea of where to go from here, but I'm thinking we could cut to like later that night. Have Mitch trying to figure out like what the hell's happening to him. He's hearing voices. He blacked out. He woke up with syrup on his hands. He doesn't know what's going on. Like he's in the bathroom. Oh, go ahead.
Have him just get out of there.
Okay.
Drives away, and he drives past the crime scene where they're taking the body out of the dumpster.
Yes.
And don't mention it, but this is a in-universe cameo of the dumpster fire dumpster.
Yeah.
All right. So like, you can just have like the
scratches and stuff on it.
Yeah, like the bloody body bags or whatever. Like they're pulling the parts out. And he gets even crazier, and like, oh my god, and have him start to melt down.
Well, we could see, maybe he sees like, he's driving by like with all the other looky-loos, and the cops like, get out of here. And we see, because, you never see this in reality, but you always see it in movies, like the sheet getting pulled over, and we could see the face of the mascot from the previous day from the commercial, and have been like, oh my god, that's why he never showed, just like he's dead in a dumpster.
Or this is a joke too far probably, but you could have the crime scene techs and the coroners eating breakfast, because you always have that in the movies where they're eating around the bodies.
I mean, this is trauma level, so why the fuck not? Have them be eating like fucking breakfast burritos or something.
I feel like you need a little more story here in T Crescendo, though. And I want a character beat for him as he reaches full meltdown. But I feel like maybe he could be seeing Pancake Face.
Well, that's what I was
getting at. In places like, did I just see like the original Pancake Face, or any Pancake Face, where he's like, he's in the costume at the grocery store and he's like out of the corner of his eye. He's in the background, so maybe he sees him on the side of the road and he stops, but he's gone.
Oh, okay. I get what you're saying.
Eventually you can build up to him. He goes back to his room. Mm-hmm. He splashes some water in his face and do the cheap camera trick where you cut down and then you cut back up, and he's in the mirror and he sees himself as Pancake Face.
Yeah, no, that's exactly where I was getting at with him being in his room. So I like this idea of like, we go back to the grocery store thing. So do all the stuff we were talking about, have him hearing the voices, getting more and more nervous, looking around. So again, we're doing the POV shot. And as he's looking through the crowd, we could see like someone standing in the crowd wearing a Pancake Face mask, and just like turn and start walking, have him be like, what the hell? And like, they're not there anymore. Or maybe there's multiple people with the Pancake Face mask on in the crowd, like as they're dressing up, just like, in fucking Thanksgiving.
Yes.
But there's one with like, that dude doesn't have a paper mask. That guy has a real fucking pancake on his face, and he just walked away. Like, what the hell's going on? And then, we could see that again, like later at the murder, like when he sees the crime scene, So he's like, oh my God, it's the mascot. And like, as he's driving, like he keeps glancing over, and then we just see like some dude in a pancake face, like smoking a cigarette just a few feet away. And okay. Like, what the hell? And then the guy's gone, that type of thing.
I got it. I think I have enough. He goes back to his hotel room. He's freaking out. He does the face wash. He looks at himself in the mirror. He's pancake face, but he hasn't come to terms with it yet. He's having a full-blown freak out. He runs out of his hotel room, and you have the crazy bum from earlier in the beginning. It says, you're doomed. This town has a breakfast curse. And have him do the whole, like, UHF, like, hey, buddy, you got any change? And have him have another freak out where he's like, I'm not pancake face. But have him kill the guy.
Right.
So now we can make the connection of, like, he's capable of murder. Gotcha. But I don't know, like, you got to have a breakfast-themed kill.
Yeah.
But you have to do it on the fly. So what would this character be holding? Or what's close? You can't just have him choke him or slash his throat. That's lame.
Right. Well, let's see.
Is he still in the pancake face outfit?
No, I mean, it could be something simple as like, the dude like drops a donut and that's all it takes to like make him like, pop an aneurysm and he's going to like, just kill him. And he could just kill him. I don't know that necessarily has to always be a breakfast related
I got it.
Murder method, but
this is completely stupid.
Inspired by breakfast food.
Maybe you could put this in the flashback too. The guy's holding a box of donut balls. So he runs out of the hotel room. He bumps into him and he's like, hey man, fuck you. Mm-hmm. Pancake. He loses his shit. Chokes him, and his eyeballs pop out and go into the carton of donut balls. Why not?
So he's got superhuman strength as pancake face now.
Just picture that like Fisher Price popper sound.
All right, I'm going to propose a couple of things.
Yep.
I think to kind of like speed the story along a little bit. So yeah, we definitely have to have Mitch is starting to lose it for sure. And we and I think it should be obvious to the audience what's going on. It should be not. I don't know that I want it to be obvious to Mitch, but like clearly he is realizing that something is happening, but maybe he's not like grasping it or he's in denial. But we should have another conversation. Like it could be one of these like these smash cuts to Mitch is having like a panic moment and like the movie music is getting really like anxious and loud and he's like sweating and there's lots of close-ups and then we smash cut to like Mitch is sitting in the colonel's office again like the next day. Yes. Like he blacked out again like, oh, what the fuck. And now the colonel, just like before, was going on and on talking about how, oh, well, we're gonna have the pancakos and market to the young audience and make him edgy and blah blah blah. Now he's saying like what this town needs is a return to greatness. Like I've been petitioning with the local government to change the name back to Flapjack, Arkansas, and embrace their history. And Colonel Mills is going to sponsor the return of the Flapjack Festival here in town. We're going to do it 2 weeks from today, Mitch, and you're going to be in charge of the PR. I need posters, we need radio ads, and blah 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 blah, and all this stuff. And of course, Mitch is like panicking and sweating, like this isn't a good idea, but but he's going to go along with it, and I don't know why I keep picturing like Kevin McDonald from The Kids in the Hall playing this guy, like this sort of like bug-eyed panic that the dude has,
Right.
But that's kind of the thing. So now what we have is we have like a big climactic moment that we can get to. The big climactic moment where of course the festival is going to go wrong. But instead of spending all the time at the festival like we did in the previous movie, it's like we're going to get there, right? But so now you have between now and then, Mitch has more stuff to do than just film commercials with the mascot. Now he can be like going to the radio, local radio station. He can be going to the newspaper. He can be hanging up flyers in town. He can be at like the FedEx Kinko's store. Like he's got business to do that puts him in places where he's going around town and he's seeing people do things that to him are disrespecting breakfast. And and then like smash cut to the next morning and he's like covered in like bloody syrup and somebody's dead because somebody sipped their coffee and didn't like it and threw the whole cup away, or somebody I don't know, again somebody dropped a donut, or somebody didn't like their bagel, or somebody was just like, I don't know, croissant gross, whatever it is, like dumb shit. And it's not exactly a montage, but it's this like very quick series, the sequence of scenes where we see Mitch trying to do his day job, but he's getting more and more like worn out looking. Like we've done this in previous episodes where we have characters over time become more disheveled, more unshaven, dirtier, sweatier, because he's never sleeping, because he's working all day, getting ready for the festival, like putting in extra hours, and then murdering people who disrespect breakfast at night. And so as time goes on, he's losing it. He's getting, he's getting worse and worse and worse off. It reminds me of a dude, what's his name? Willie Schlub from the Tales from the Cryptmas episode.
Yes. That is anyone?
Exactly. And then, it's going to culminate at now it's the big return of the Flapjack Fest, where of course, obviously everything is going to go wrong.
Can I propose something? Did we kill the waitress at the beginning or no?
Not yet.
All right. Day of the festival. He's disheveled. Let's have him go back to Flapjack Franny's to get breakfast.
Mm-hmm.
Have him sit at the counter and once again ask for waffles. This time we can have the camera cut to a waffle iron. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Have the waitress say, no, how many times do I have to tell you we don't serve those here? And have him lose his shit. Kill the waitress, go back into the kitchen and pour pancake batter all over his face, and then press his own face into a waffle iron to permanently burn a waffle into his face and complete the transition to waffle face. And then just make a beeline for the factory and the Colonel and the festival and just force of nature it until his bloody death.
Okay. I like the idea of him just embracing it. I gotta say, I don't know that I love the waffle.
Face kind of stupid.
Yeah, I don't know that I love that idea of the waffle, because he's been transforming into Pancake Face throughout the whole movie. I feel like he should just embrace, because Mitch liked waffles, but Pancake Face liked pancakes. So what he should be doing is embracing the fact that it's pancake. So instead of him saying, well, I want waffle, or let me back up. He'll say he wants waffles. He's going to get mad about it. The waitress is going to be like, how many fucking times I told you we don't serve waffles? And then when he goes in the kitchen, he's not going back there to make waffles. It should be more of fine, you don't have waffles? Fine, you don't have fucking waffles. This is Flapjack, Arkansas. I guess everyone likes fucking flapjacks. Here, let me get my own goddamn flapjacks. And he goes back there and kind of throws a hissy fit, and is like, flapjacks, there, now you happy? Look, I'm Pancake Face. Ooh, I'm Pancake Face. And sticks it on his own face, being kind of funny. But then at the end of it, you see everybody in the diner is frozen and staring at him oh my God, what is happening? And then the camera pans back to him, and he's literally standing there, Pancake Face, with his offset spatula covered in blood. He's holding the waitress by the back of her shirt, because she's slumped over dead in his arms. Because while we were seeing him kind of throw a little hissy fit, oh fine, you like pancakes, I like pancakes, what was really happening is he was doing the final transformation. And then when the audience and the rest of the people in the diner see what was really going on, you see actual Pancake Face. And now Mitch is gone, and it's just Pancake Face. It's just the murderer. And then he's just gonna drop the waitress and get out of there and go straight toward it's the opening day of the festival, and here's the Colonel up on the stage doing the opening announcements, and here he comes to start the rampage.
You're falling down, but with Pancake Face.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
You should have this. This is just a funny visual. The Colonel, grand reopening of the town, back to Flapjack, Arkansas, but instead of a pair of scissors, he has a cartoonishly large fork and knife to cut the ribbon, because it's breakfast.
Yeah, that'd be funny. Yeah, and you guys tell me what you want to do here, but what I'm thinking is again, we kind of went pretty quickly through the middle part of this movie. We spent a lot of time at the beginning. The middle part of the movie was Mitch kind of losing his mind. Again, sort of a montage. We have him finally snap. And now if I'm watching this horror movie, what I would love to see, and I want this in more horror movies. For me personally, Josh wants this in more horror movies where you just go to town on some motherfuckers. Just go to the festival and forget the rest of the story. It's just, I am now Pancake Face and everybody must die. And he's going to go to the festival and just start killing everybody. We don't have any characters. I don't care who these people are. Like, everybody in town is fodder because Pancake Face is on a murder spree.
This is Commando.
Yes.
But with Pancake Face.
Commando with breakfast items.
Exactly.
But no, like, I think one of the things we kind of skipped over in the middle there is that transition. Like, I love the idea of him, like, almost like fighting with himself in the mirror, like, you know, having that, like, that man versus self fight in the hotel, like flipping out, you know, like, I'm not Pancake Face, I'm not and like, you could even have like Corey Feldman, you know, the groundskeeper at the motel, just being like, hearing this guy from the Waffle Suite yelling, I'm not Pancake Face, I swear I'm not Pancake Face, and have him just be like, okay, another day in Flapjack, Arkansas, just cleaning the table, you know. But we could have that whole thing. We should have the pressure get put onto Mitch by, like, you know, when the next day after the opening, the meet and greet in the grocery store, have him just like, hey, that was quick thinking, you know, when that asshole we hired to play Pancake Face didn't show up, you donned the suit like a pro, you know. And then he's like, we want you to play the mascot as well as do the social media, you know, you're getting a raise, buddy, you know, that type of thing, and have him just be like, oh, Jesus Christ. So it's like, and we could have more of those, like the montage of openings, like, you know, meet and greet at, you know, whatever, he goes to some like the Veterans Hospital and he gives away bowls of pancakeos or whatever we called them, short stacks. And again, you know, he hears the whisperings of Pancake Face and he's going crazier and crazier. So we could have that breakdown and then, you know, again, speed up to the point where we get to Flapjack, Arkansas's annual Pancake Fest returning, or Breakfast Festival returning. So now, here's the question. Do we want to talk any more story, or do we just want to talk crazy kills? Because I feel like that's where you guys were headed. So,
let's just have some badass, like, Motley Crue Kickstart My Heart.
Okay,
start playing and just have him go batshit. Like, perfect opportunity for a woman to run past the camera topless. Like, think of the carnage montages in Piranha.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so here's the thing. Let's go to the diner. Like you said, have Mitch. He looks like he hasn't slept in days. You know, sunken eyes, the stubble, sweaty brow, all that. Asks the waitress for the you know, the waffles. You know, she tells him off. Do all the stuff you guys said, and when he like finishes murder, like transitioning, he's got the pancake on his face. He's got syrup all over his hands. He's holding the fucking spatula, and he just like looks at the crowd, and this is where he just accepts it. And maybe he just says to them, he's like, breakfast is the most important meal of the day after all. And they all start screaming. Yep. We cut outside and we just see blood splattering on the windows of Flapjack Franny's, and have Pancake Face, now the Mitch fully transitioned, walking out holding the spatula covered in fucking blood, just like caked in it, and then just have him like smile and head straight to the Pancake Festival. Or the Breakfast Festival. So we should have Colonel Mills like on stage with you know, young Corey Feldman doing the cutting the ribbon. And you mentioned topless women, so here's my joke for the topless women. So you have the booth babes, you know, like that you always see like at the but they're wearing bikinis that are fried eggs. So they just have like fried egg bikinis, and they're like dancing around the Colonel as he's cutting the ribbon.
The breakfast babes.
Yeah, of course, the breakfast babes. You know, so of course we'll have one of them like run by with their top off later. But yeah, we just, as he's like, you know, I commence, you know, the breakfast or the annual breakfast festival now open, and have like the crowd go wild, and then we see a POV shot from the Colonel. And standing at the entrance underneath the banner is Mitch, covered in blood, smiling, wearing the pancake. And have him just be like, what the fuck is that? And then have Corey Feldman just be like, oh, not again. And then we start the carnage.
Yes. Oh man, yeah.
God.
And then we just had this huge montage with this, amazing, like, like an '80s like jammer song, and we just go crazy with everything imaginable. And it doesn't all have to be breakfast themed, but of course we will. Like, we'll see, like the spiral cut ham death, like we did in our Festivus episode. We gotta have somebody run around topless, but like, hold up like little bagels in front of their boobs. Like, what do I do with these? Whatever. Like, just like dumb shit.
Hey, why not? Why don't you have some male nudity? Who cares?
Well, yeah, I mean, we got to have the sausage thing.
It's literal sausage fest, so you just have some dude run past the camera,
exactly, just propellering it. The song needs to be, I know it's not an 80s song, but because the breakfast theme, Do You Want to Taste It by Wigwam?
Yep.
Yeah, we go for it.
Because come on, that's not only does it fit the hair metal vibe, but the lyrics, they're perfect.
Yeah, I love it. Oh man. Yeah, and we just like totally have him go to town. Now, I don't know if you guys have an idea of how you want to end like the massacre. I had this one scene that kind of popped into my head that I thought would be kind of funny, is like, if he basically kills everybody in town, right? He just goes nuts, kills everybody at the festival. At what point does Pancake Face like stop killing people? Like, does he? And I feel like the answer would be yeah. He at some point maybe Mitch comes to his senses. And what I'm picturing is, again, Mitch kept blacking out and like becoming Pancake Face. He eventually embraces it, but what if he has like one more kind of blackout, like the absolute massacre, the bloodbath, it kind of reaches ahead. And then we cut to Mitch, and he's sitting in his car, all packed up full of his stuff, like just like at the beginning of the movie when he moved to town. Now he's all packed up, like ready to leave. Like, and he wakes up in the car, covered in blood, pancake on his face, spatula still in his hand. He packed up all the shit in his car, kind of haphazard. He's got blood all over his like suitcases and everything. Like he killed everybody at the festival, and they went back to his apartment to like pack his clothes, And he kind of wakes up in the car, like, oh my god, what happened? What did I do? And he like looks around, and he even outside like the breakfast themed hotel, Flapjack Franny's isn't that far away, and there's just everybody in town is dead, and there's just bodies everywhere. Just everywhere there's breakfast related corpses, like whatever
Right.
it is, like somebody has like a like a half gallon of orange juice like shoved in their mouth with their jaw unhinged or whatever, like stuff like that. And he just looks around, and he's just like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. He throws the spatula down, rips the pancake off of his face, like peels out of town, like he's just racing out of town, like, oh my god, he's running away, gotta get away. You just see him like driving. Eventually he like slows down, he's breathing. What am I gonna do? Like, what happened? Blah 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 blah. And then you see him like look up at a road sign, and it's like, for like the exit off like the little like country highway that he's on, and it says like something like Brunch, Louisiana, 30 miles east. And then you see him look at that, and like look at the road and look at that, and he puts the pancake back on his face and makes it right.
Yes. Okay. Couple things I want to interject real quick. During the massacre, I want to see. There's one death I've had in mind this whole time. Like when we're just doing the montage, I want to see him like cracking someone's skull on a griddle like an egg. Yes. Like making scrambled brains.
Absolutely.
I would like the Colonel, just the after, like they, flash to the carnage, have a bunch of bodies stacked like pancakes with the cartoonishly large fork, impaling it, and have be the Colonel of the top stack of like 4 pancakes with people.
Just syrup poured all over them.
Just scoop on them.
Now, before, like, do we want to have a moment where we see Mitch, like we question? Oh, dude. Okay, no. Oh, perfect. I got it. Before we get to the car scene, okay, we have Mitch just murdering everyone, and then he sees like the one tent that was selling waffles, and he's just like, waffles? And then we hear like the Pancake Face like hissing in his ears like, no, pancakes. And I'd be like, waffles? And like he's fighting, he's like, waffles, and then it cuts to black, and then he wakes up in his car like covered in blood. He's like, I beat it. I got out. I'm free. And he starts to drive, and like you said, he sees the brunch, whatever, and he's like, then you hear the breakfast is the most important meal of the day, and he looks in the rearview mirror, and he's still wearing the fucking pancake face, and he takes the turn.
Yes, perfect. I love it. Yeah, and it goes back to that idea of like, what's reality, what's not. Like we saw him like take the pancake off of his face and throw the spatula down and leave town. But yeah, then when he looks in the mirror and it's like, fuck, he's wearing the pancake. He was wearing the pancake the whole time.
Yes. Mitch has just lost his shit.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. God. See, that's perfect. We got there. We got there, guys. We got there.
Can I give you guys the credit stinger?
Oh, yes. Go for it.
Corey Feldman is back at his motel. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Somebody walks in. They're kind of short. You can't see him. And it's from his perspective. So he says, okay, we got the croissant room, the cereal room, pancake room, or the bacon room. Which room do you want? And then it cuts down to this kid who has a cereal bowl haircut, this weird blonde mullet. He just looks at the camera and he goes, pancakes! And starts doing karate.
Oh, Dennis.
The end. Dennis
from Cabin Fever.
Cabin Fever. Funny cameo. Goes nowhere.
That is still one of my favorite special features on a DVD because it has there's no purpose for it. It's literally just Dennis doing like a kung fu kata while Electric Six's I Want to Take You to a Gay Bar plays. And it's like literally like 3 minutes of him just doing kata while that's playing. And it's amazing.
The fact that Dennis doesn't do conventions is a shame.
Yeah, it is.
Unless he's like a big deal in MMA and I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Wasn't it the Cabin Fever DVD that had like, what was it called, like the girlfriend view or something, where you could watch the movie, but the silhouettes of these, the silhouettes of like black hands would come up and like cover the screen like you were the girlfriend covering your eyes during the scary parts.
Yep. That was a really funny one.
DVDs had extras. Thanks.
Yeah. Oh, I know, right? I miss
Easter eggs.
I miss old school DVDs.
Yeah. Oh man, but all right, guys, we got there. We made it. I'm actually surprised it took us so long to, mention the crossover of the breakfast werewolf.
Right. I know, right?
I thought for sure that would have come up at the beginning when I was asking about like what's your favorite breakfast food, but somehow we just missed it. But yeah, that's a reference to things you guys have talked about on Kreepyhead Saturday Morning Monster Mash.
In the back of my head, like my brain was like, this isn't important, don't say it. It wasn't Breakfast Werewolf. I was just going to be like, wouldn't it be funny if Winky Sphincter was on the radio? But like, I don't connect those two. But yeah, Breakfast Werewolf. Can you imagine? I can totally just set this up right now. Of Mitch goes to town, murders happen again. He thinks it's him, but it's the Breakfast Werewolf, and then they fight.
That's going to be the Flapjack Massacre spin-off straight to DVD special. Or no, straight to collector's item only VHS, limited to 500 copies, Kickstarter exclusive.
Yeah, it's only on Betamax.
Yes.
The only way to watch.
And it's just like some like local like Buffalo area filmmakers who like bought the rights to do a Flapjack Massacre spin-off, but they couldn't use Pancake Face. That wasn't included in the rights because they bought the cheap version, so all they could do was put Flapjack Massacre Presents on the cover of the Betamax box and make their own movie about the breakfast werewolf, and it's like 27 minutes long.
Would you, rhetorical question, Stephen King will give students the rights to make his movies for $1 of his stories, notoriously. If some kid from like Austin College came to you, Josh, and said, I want to make one of your Raised by Rental ideas, would you let them do it?
Hell yeah, dude! I'm gonna sell it all day. You give me some money. We got all kinds of ideas. I got more ideas. You can pay me some more money. I got more ideas. Nothing.
But like if they just said like I want to make Jurgen Yuletide Avenger Christmas movie. Well, you don't have any money. Would you just be like, yeah, go have fun?
Yeah, I mean, if they didn't have any money, I would say, yeah, go have fun with it. But for no money, I'd be like, look, I at least have to have like final say, because if you guys go and make something stupid, I don't want my name on it forever if I'm not going to make any money. But if somebody were to show up with a check and be like, we want to go make a Jurgen movie, I'd just be like, yeah, cool, like, and laugh my ass all the way to the bank because again, it's like we got more ideas. I'm good.
Give me the cartoonishly large $ bags, please.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, and if they didn't have any money, you could always do the thing of like, all right, I'll make a deal with you where, yes, I have some say in the actual, production or story. But if this does become a hit, and if it does become, monetarily rewarding, then I get a cut of that.
Yeah. You got to make sure you do the math right, because production companies are funny like that. I would just ask for the merchandising rights like George Lucas.
Yeah, there you go.
I'd be like, hey, look, when Hasbro comes to you and wants to make the Pancake Face action figure line, it's all me.
Yeah. Oh, dude. See, now there's a Raised by Rentals crossover with Count Kreepyhead that we might have to do, where if our original titles had action figure lines, what would the figures and play sets be?
We need to sit down and talk about all of our in-universe creations, because it's gotten big enough to the point where it's like we have enough reoccurring characters that I think there's something there to talk about.
Yeah. We could just do the characters from Count Kreepyhead, like not the Raised by Rentals characters, but the Kreepyhead characters. Yeah.
You guys need to do a Christina story. I'm telling you, like a Lifetime original style, like Not Without My Baby, the Christina story. Not Without My Sock.
Yeah. Oh, God. No, I'm gonna have to veto that one.
I feel like that would end up being like what was it? Skin Deep? Was that the one that we did with the flesh-eating virus? Yeah. I feel like Christina would fall into that of just like it's a body horror movie.
Oh, it'd be so gross.
Body horror. It's a one-note joke about your sock.
But again, that's so disgusting. Who wants to touch it?
Exactly. I don't think I want to touch that idea.
Exactly.
Oh man.
It's an idea that you hold with tongs, like very far away from your face.
Oh man. Yeah. I was gonna say too, like back on that topic about like selling out, like I I absolutely would sell out. I'm not a punk rocker, like I don't have those kind of morals,
Right, it's the same.
But I would say too, like I'm not trying to be like a dickhead or sound like we're full of ourselves, but I think that's one of the things that we do well. It's the thing that became the hook for Raised by Rentals, and the reason why we do it. It's the thing that Mike and I have been doing together that's sort of like been the glue of our friendship forever, which is that we have a lot of ideas. Like when people ask, well, where do you get ideas from? Or to talk about having writer's block, or like, oh, I don't have any ideas. And it's like, I might not have ever had like $1 million idea that made me rich, but we've had 1 million ideas. Like ideas come easy, and that's never been the problem. It's never been hard to just come up with something else. So yeah, I would sell out all day.
There's an analogy that kind of ties to this. I had somebody tell me once, like, you could win a football game with field goals, just field goals. And it's like, you may not have a $1 million idea, but you have $1 million $1 ideas.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
Or the other analogy is like, you may not have ever dated a 10, but you dated 5 2s. Same thing.
It counts.
Yeah.
Oh man. All right. Well, guys, let's go ahead and wrap it up here. I appreciate it. Mike Ome, thanks again for coming by the Raised by Rentals studio to join us on this.
I love doing these. Thank you. I'm flattered anytime you guys have me on here or mention Count Kreepyhead Saturday Morning Monster Mash, or just thank you. Bottom of my heart. I love it. Thank you.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. It's always a lot of fun. Yeah, and thanks again for mentioning Raised by Rentals all the time on Count Kreepyhead. The Rad Pantheon's kind of incestuous, but hey, the more we do it, the more people will hopefully check us out.
We're the kissing cousins of podcast networks.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, man. But if you want to find some more of those kissing cousins, go to radpantheon.com and check out all of the other podcasts, artists, musicians, the whole art collective of creative friends supporting each other to spread the gospel of rad stuff, and raisedbyrentals.com, at raisedbyrentals on the socials, to go back and check out our back catalog for more about this show. We have almost 100 episodes in the back catalog to check out, so please go back and listen to some of those.
If this is your first time and you like slashers, you guys have at least 25 hours of just slasher material of your fun stories. So it's maybe my favorite genre.
Yeah.
And I could listen to you guys make up slasher stuff all day long.
Absolutely, yeah. I was trying to look up a list of some of the old slasher episodes to give some examples, but my OneNote crashed where I have the whole list. But anyway, whatever. What do you guys got to say? We already mentioned Count Kreepyhead Saturday Morning Monster Mash, but any other plugs?
Well, we got Boogeyman's Closet. I'll have, by the time this comes out, Sinister will be the next episode. Brian and Corey join me once again, and Corey has been telling me for a while she really wants to cover Sinister, so I was like, well, what the hell? We gotta postpone what I originally had planned. So Maurice and Susie can join me for that one. So we said, why the hell not? We'll do Sinister. And I forgot how much I actually liked that movie. So I'm very excited to share that episode.
Very cool. Yeah, very cool. What about you, Ame? Anything else going on besides Count Kreepyhead, or anything cool coming up on the episodes?
We're on a little itty bitty break as we transition away from Skype, and I think we're coming back with some sort of easy episode just in case we have recording troubles. So the next episode will be different. If this doesn't come out in the meantime, probably about 2 weeks away.
Awesome. Sounds good. Everyone definitely tune into those podcasts. And once again, thanks for tuning into the Raised by Rentals program. If you had fun with us, visit us on the socials, drop a line, leave a comment, leave a podcast rating. Let us know what we should improve next time. And with that, I'm Josh.
I'm Mike.
Breakfast is the most important meal of the day.
Do you really want to taste it? Make a move extreme. Shortcut to your dream. A blow straight to the stars on that flying thing. Getting high. Getting snowblind games. Pikachu, Chickaboo in the world beyond. Got a beat, got a heat on the phone. It's tear your world apart. Once the magic starts. Do you really want to taste it? What's going on must come down.
Pancakes! Pancakes! Pancakes!